Welcome to Priceless Takes.
We are live from Brisbane, Australia. Welcome everyone to Priceless Takes episode 54. I am your host, Luka Price, and today joining me, we have the full panel. We have Mr. Tyson McMullen, Oscar Hardcastle, and Ruben Lind all joining us today. How are we today, fellas?
Good,
Right.
thank you.
Sublime.
Listen, we have a lot to talk about in today's episode because the NBA playoffs are here. Now, Oscar, I think, is probably the happiest man in the room right now as Jimmy Butler's been officially announced for the game tomorrow night against the Bulls. And honestly, it feels like a century since the Bulls have been in the playoffs, so it could be some good for them. Oscar, what are your thoughts on that?
2018 or something, 2017 or something, I think. So
Half a century.
I'm very excited for tomorrow. Or was it tomorrow, the game?
Yeah, it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow, very excited. You know, it breaks my heart to see Jimmy out, but it is good to see, kind of, as a Bulls fan. So, you know, see how we go.
It's actually the same matchup last year for the 8th seed between the Bulls and the Heat in Miami. Miami did narrowly close that one out.
Yeah. We
And
were up
so
by,
we'll see.
We were up by a bit as well at the half. So
We'll see what happens. Ruben, Tyson, do you guys give Miami any chance tomorrow without Jimmy Butler?
No, I don't think so. I'm not gonna lie.
You know what? I think Miami still might have the slight edge.
after Kobe White's
Ooh.
performance, you can't.
Yeah, look, I just think Kobe White's just too like he's on it now.
He's locked
he got a
in, he's
taste.
locked
He got a taste of what it was.
I
and
don't know.
he's all for
Kobe
it.
No,
White
I trust-
hasn't
I trust
necessarily
Tyler
been
Hero.
Mr. Consistent
I
this year.
I don't trust
Tyler
Mr.
Hero,
9 from 28.
Mr. 9
from
9 from
28.
Tyler Hero and Bam, I trust them. I trust them tomorrow
Without
to
Jimmy,
get
that
done.
means he's gonna go up to almost 50 shots.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Caleb Martin as well could have his playoff form.
Oh, come on.
Find
come
that
on.
again.
That guy? Really? That guy?
Well,
Yeah,
listen,
I know.
guys, we have a lot to talk about because it is my favorite time of the year. It's the NBA playoffs. We have these two games going on tomorrow, but we have most of the series set except for the two, and we're going to talk about some today. Stay tuned for our Instagram because we will be posting our full playoff predictions. Last year, Tyson, you did come up on top of the panel, so we'll see if you can do it again. But this time, Ruben will be officially in our predictions, so it'll be the four of us. But I want to get straight into it, guys. And this first series we're going to talk about is potentially the most fascinating series of all the playoffs. It's the Western Conference Finals rematch between the Los Angeles Lakers and the Denver Nuggets. As we know, Denver swept the Lakers in the conference finals last year en route to winning their first NBA championship. In that series, Jokic averaged 28, 15, and 12 on 50% shooting, 47 three-point percentage, while Jamal Murray had the series of his life, averaging 32, 6, and 5, plus 3 steals on 50, 40, 90 in the 4 games. LeBron in that series was 28, 10, and 10. AD 27, 14, and 3. Now, listen, there's a lot of back and forth as to who's going to win this series, but the Nuggets are 3-0 against the Lakers this series, on top of the 4-game sweep in last year's conference finals. Tyson, I'm going to ask you as the resident Lakers fan to kick us off here. I have a feeling I know who you're going to pick, but I would like to see some objectivity in your analysis. Who is going to win this series and in how many games?
So I do have my Lakers winning in 6 games. And there's a good reason behind it. Look, as Darvin Ham said, it's 0-0 at the moment. It's 0-0. And we're not ducking any smoke, as he said in the locker room. But I just think the Lakers this year, they've finally had a whole season to work with their core. Like the whole new lineup from the mid-season trade last year. They've had a season to work with it. D'Angelo Russell's definitely bounced back. He's had an awesome performance during the regular season, and I don't think he will fail in the spotlight in the upcoming playoffs. And also LeBron shooting career high from 3, 41% or something like that. He's crazy and showing he can do it still in year 21. Is it 21? Something like that. But well, I just think the Lakers definitely have more experience now as a whole unit. They know what they're working with. They know what they're getting into with Denver. They know how they play, and I just think second time round will kick it off.
Yeah, I have to second with Tyson there. I also have the Lakers in 6. I've said in many shows that I still have the Lakers winning, and I'm not going to back down from that. I personally think this is their last chance to do it before we might see LeBron falling off and maybe another breakdown of this team, because the Lakers are always elevating to get the biggest stars in the game, and we don't know how much longer AD can do it for. He's played 76 games this year. I don't know if he's going to be able to replicate that again or not. And LeBron, I don't know how much longer he can keep this up for. So this is the time to do it now. Some people calling it the Western Conference Finals rematch, which I agree. But my personal opinion, this is the NBA Finals in this matchup here. These are the two best teams in the NBA, and whoever wins out of these two teams, I think will be the ultimate winner. I think in terms of containing Jokic,
Completely
can't
disagree
really
with you, by the way.
you cannot
That is just
contain
outrageous.
you cannot contain Jokic, which I agree with. But there are ways to stop the Nuggets. So I did some research. The Nuggets I think they're 19th in allowing interior scoring. The Lakers are second in the league for interior scoring. So if they can exploit that, they can do well. And I looked at Aaron Gordon, shot 34% from 3 last season, is at 29% this season. So I think if you dare him to shoot as well, because Jokic is a pass-first player, let Aaron Gordon shoot from 3 and hope that he doesn't shoot well from 3. And I think if that can be done, and with the experiences Tyson said, I think the Lakers will get it done 6.
Oscar, please give me something to work with here,
I,
man.
I also agree that the Lakers in 6.
Oh
However,
my
I've got a bit.
God.
I've got a bit more research. I've got a bit of research behind it. I think everyone's talking about the conference finals last year, and you mentioned it. Jamal Murray played the best series of his life. He was playing the best basketball of his life. He really rose to the occasion. Are we trusting Jamal to redo that and play the best basketball he's ever played again? Two playoff series straight. Are we really trusting him to do that? Also, on top of that, D'Angelo Russell may have played the worst playoff series of his life, averaging 6 points, shooting
13%
shooting
from 3.
15% or something from 3 that series. I think this year D'Lo is shooting much more consistently at 41. Tyson said 41%, playing better. Obviously, he still has his down games. Also, I think LeBron obviously shooting the best he ever has, really, from 3 especially, and his last 7 games he's averaging 39 and 9 or something ridiculous. And then everyone talks about trying to contain Jokic. I don't think it really can be done. I think Jokic is just going to do what he does and dominate. But I feel like if you can contain those role players such as Jamal Murray, which they failed to do last year, and they have a series under their belt to see what Jamal actually can do, and obviously they need to find ways to contain Jamal, and also missing Bruce Brown this year. I know he was actually a big factor last year in their wins. Off the bench, Luka, yes, off the bench, but bench players do matter.
Man,
Bench players do matter. They've lost him, and
I agree.
The people getting his minutes are who? Reggie and
Christian
they're
Brown.
25th in bench scoring. 25th.
Yeah.
No, Nuggets
So,
are. Yeah.
Oh, guys.
so I just
What-
think Lakers in 6, because I think we have LeBron James, we've got AD who's playing some really good basketball, even though he's injured and not quite healthy. But I just think it's about, are we trusting these players? Are we trusting Jamal to have the best series of his life, and are we trusting D'Lo to again have the worst series of his life? Because when you look at those 4 games last series in the Western Conference Finals, they were close. They were close games. They were all
And what happened? Happened?
A minute left. Well, this is what I'm saying. Jamal played the best 4th quarters of his life, and
It
D'Lo
wasn't just
played
him.
terribly. I know it wasn't just him, but it's a massive factor here that I just don't think they can replicate that performance again. And I think Lakers in 6.
It is the 3 of your absolutely ridiculous takes as to why the Denver Nuggets are so motivated year in and year out to absolutely crush the Lakers. Because, guys, what are we talking about? All of your analysis, I did not hear a single person talk about Nikola Jokic, the reigning, defending finals MVP, about to be MVP this year, which I disagree with, but he's still about to be the MVP this year. And Denver's just a better team than the Lakers. Ruben told me that Anthony Davis played 76 games and they're the second best team in the NBA. So why are they coming in as a 7 seed? They obviously have some problems, okay? Jokic absolutely owns AD, okay, for one. Number two, I understand Jamal Murray played the series of his life last year, which is why it's not going to be a sweep, okay? The one thing that the Lakers do have a chance is Jamal Murray's health. He's averaging 21, 5, and 6 since coming back from injury, but in his last 4 games, he's scored 20 points per game in each of the last 4 games, okay? I understand D'Lo also had the worst series of his life, but Austin Reeves and Rui Hachimura contributed to combined 38 points per game in that Western Conference Finals series. With D'Lo might not score 6 points per game, but are we going to necessarily say that Austin and Rui Hachimura are going to combine for 40 points a game in this series? Because I really don't think that they're going to. Now, I understand you guys did your research, but the matter of the fact is, Denver is just a better team than the Lakers, Tyson, and Oscar, and Ruben. You know the last time LeBron won a game in Denver was 4 years ago? 4 years ago was the last time LeBron managed to win a game in Denver, okay? And I understand it was close, and I think it's going to be close again. But game after game after game, they could not do anything with Jokic in the clutch, and he absolutely tore them to shreds. So who do I trust in a close game? I trust Jokic, I trust the Nuggets, and they always find a way to get it done. I have this one in 5 games. I don't think it's going to be particularly close, if I'm being completely honest with you. And I think the 3 of you are going to look like absolute fools when the Lakers series ends in about a week and a half. Sorry, their season ends in about a week and a half. I don't really know how you can see the Lakers all of a sudden just flipping a gear and beating a team that has owned them for the past 3 seasons. That's just not how it works.
It's the Lakers. They got LeBron. That's all I got to say.
How did that work out? But how did that work out for them last year? How did that work out for them last year?
Well, yeah, they lost, but
last year was they came with a whole lineup just fresh off the
fresh
trade block.
lineup,
Fresh lineup off the trade block, still working with each other. People still finding their roles, their groove. They've had a whole season to work on it, and definitely that factor.
And where did it get
swept.
them? Where did they get the exact same spot? They're in the exact same spot they were this time last year in the 7-2 matchup. And
really
Anthony Davis was healthy for the whole
really
year.
Competitive.
And it was competitive last year too.
We've had Vando out, we've had Christian Wood, we've had all our role players out as well. So we actually haven't had the chance for the whole lineup to come together. You got to realize that.
Well, neither has Denver. Jamal Murray's only played 55 games this season, and they're still the 2 seed.
Played 3 people off the bench.
Denver's also been together for the past 4 years.
Exactly. That's why they're going to win. They got continuity, and I don't want to hear about 25th in bench scoring. The bench doesn't matter when it comes to the playoffs. You know what matters? Stars.
Bruce Brown.
And right now, no, don't give me Bruce Brown. Stars matter, okay? And Nikola Jokic is better than anyone on the Lakers team right now. And Jamal Murray, last series, maybe he won't replicate it, but if Jamal Murray can give a semblance of what he was, and we talk about playoff Jimmy, Jamal Murray, playoff Jamal should be a thing too. He averages 6 points more in the playoffs than in the regular season. He comes alive in the playoffs. So I really don't think this is going to be close. And I think you guys are giving the Lakers way too much credit for what they've actually done this year, which is pretty much nothing, considering this has been the healthiest they've been since
they won the in-season tournament.
And they've struggled. Ruben, if that's all you're relying on, then we're not doing that. Look, guys, this game, this series...
Nuggets win the in-season tournament.
Oh, my God. I want to get on to another series because you guys are just talking absolute rubbish. And I think we might have some more disagreement on this one, but hopefully some actual disagreement, not just you guys living in fantasy.
Can you agree with me, Luka, that in terms of the Lakers' journey to the NBA championship, this is the best journey to go through the Nuggets first.
Yes, I do agree
Yes.
with that.
Okay.
I do agree
You
with
don't
that.
want to verse them in the
No.
Western Conference Finals when you're
No.
gassed and LeBron's 40-year-old ass is.
No, I completely agree,
tired.
but I think that LeBron, in all honesty, got pretty gassed the other night against the Pelicans, and Zion got them back into the game. Like I thought LeBron got gassed the other night, which plays into your point, but I'm saying he's already like getting gassed. So, and I just think like Denver
38
is
minutes.
he's going to have to play more in the playoffs, Oscar. He's going to be averaging 42, 43 minutes a night, especially against the Nuggets.
Yeah, 28-point triple-double in 38 minutes. I think he's done his job there.
He did, but I'm just saying.
But LeBron's LeBron. He will do it. He'll do
But
it.
I'm just saying, did you guys watch the game the other night? Do you think if Zion didn't go out, that the Lakers would have been in a bit of hot
I
water?
thought it would have been a lot
Okay,
closer, yeah.
But
I
one
think
game
Lakers would have
series are
pulled it out.
different to 7-game series.
Exactly, which is why the Lakers have no chance to win. Because in their last 7 games, they're 0-7. Okay? So they're not just going to win 4 straight games all of a sudden when Denver has been owning them. And they are
They don't
extra
need
motivated.
to win 4 in a row. Get one game at game 1 or game 2. They have a really good home record, so they'll get 3 and 4.
LeBron hasn't won in 4 years in Denver, so why is he just going to win all of a sudden when Denver is the best home team outside of the Celtics in the NBA?
This is the best time to do it, and this is the right time to do it.
It is the best time to do it, but just because it's the best time to do it doesn't mean they're going to win.
Well, I think they have the right pieces to win. And I think the Nuggets losing Bruce Brown, I think you're underestimating what he did to that playoffs last season. It provided something different off the bench. They don't have that this time. They're under strength compared to last season.
I think Christian Brown and Reggie Jackson will make up for the 12 points per game that Bruce Brown provided off the bench last year.
Bruce Brown played like what was it last? He averaged like 20 minutes a game, or
Yeah.
And he balled out. And he was a cornerstone for that bench.
Well, listen. Let's see how Christian Brown does. I believe in Christian Brown.
I do not believe
Okay,
in
we'll
Christian
see
Brown.
how he does. Well, I believe in Christian Brown more than I believe in the people the Lakers have.
How? This guy is playing on a team with some of the best players. He doesn't have it. He's scared with the rock. I don't know if you saw in the Lakers series. He did not take a shot. He could not take a shot. And you think he's going to do it this time around?
Listen, I do, because I think he has
I don't
to, and
think
even
so.
if he doesn't, and I don't think he has to. He doesn't even have to. Denver can play.
But you're saying
like a
he's
five-man
going to
rotation and
make
still
up for
win.
Bruce Brown's points. He's not.
No, I'm saying he can, and I'm saying even if I think he will. I think he will, but even if he doesn't, they don't need him to.
Well,
They
definitely
really
need
don't
someone
need
off
him
the
to.
bench. Yeah, they need someone.
Well, we'll see. They really they did it with a 6-man rotation last year. They'll be just fine, okay? But I wanted to switch to the Eastern Conference, to the other 7-2 matchup, because I see Ruben sneakily with a little shirt on there underneath the camera, which I can only see half of. But the Knicks and the Sixers, guys, look, you know my opinion on the Sixers. I think they're historically just one of the most fraudulent teams since I've been watching the NBA. But they appear to have a healthy Joel Embiid. He appears to be healthy, but he's not really, is he? Like, they say he's healthy, but it looks like he's operating at around 70, 80%. He's averaging 29, 10, 5 since returning. The one game he did play against the Knicks this year, he had 30 points, 10 rebounds, and 3 blocks. In the playoffs, Embiid historically has been bad. Whether it's his health, whether it's his motor, who knows? But he's averaging 24, 11, and 3 in the playoffs, and he's only had one playoff series where he's averaged above 30 points per game, and that was when he got swept by the Boston Celtics in 2021. Now, Jalen Brunson, I love Jalen Brunson. He has been insane for the Knicks this year. He's 4th in the NBA in 30-point games with 36. The Knicks have been a monster defensive team since they acquired OG Anunoby. So that's going to be fascinating. And the Knicks are the Knicks. This is the first time they've been this high ranked of a seed since I've ever been watching the NBA. So, Oscar, I'm going to ask you first, because you were pretty high on the Philadelphia 76ers last year. So I want to ask you, who wins this series and in how many games? And which team do you think should be favored to win the series, odds on?
I think Philly will win. I think they will win in 6 games or so. I think Philly should be favored. I think the odds are going to favor them. You know, sports betting odds are going to favor them just because of the star power on that team. Joel Embiid, obviously, he doesn't look that healthy. If you watched him his last game, he looked terrible by the end of that game, but still dropped 32, 13, and 7 with a block of pretty good shooting. So, and clutched up in the fourth quarter. So, I think Philly will win. I love Jalen Brunson also. I think he just out of nowhere came in this season and dominated. But I just don't think there's enough pieces on that New York team to help Jalen out. You know, if you look at his last game against the Bulls, it went to overtime. They won by 1 point. So, and that's against the Chicago Bulls. So I don't think there's enough in New York to help out Jalen Brunson's dominant run this season. I think if Joel, even if he plays 70 and he's dropping 30 points a game, I think he's got enough there. Tyrese Maxey to help him out, and Kelly Oubre, who's been very, very good this season, to get over this series in 6 games.
Look, I'm going with the Knicks here. I'm a big Jalen Brunson guy. I love his game. I've got a soft spot for the Knicks. I'm not gonna lie, but I do have Knicks in 6. Just purely off the fact of the 76ers playoff history. It's just shocking for them. They've been favored in quite a few series, and they just cannot get it done. And you look at the Knicks lineup this year. Like obviously Randall's out, but you've got the same guys, same seven or so blokes. They're used to playing 40 plus minutes a game because of the Tibbs. They know what it takes. They can play the whole game out and like at real like high quality basketball as well. Like Josh Hart's been crazy, like double doubles, doing his thing, like rebounding. He knows how
Triple-doubles even.
triple doubles, yes. You know like they know how to play their role. Like Dante, what he got 11 threes not too long ago. Like these guys know how to play their role and like do it pretty efficiently. And like Miles McBride stepped up for a bit as well, had a few 20-point games, something like that. And you know OG Anunoby, you know what he does. But definitely that center position is gonna suck because Mitch Robinson's out, isn't he, for the whole season?
No, he's back.
He's back?
He's back.
Okay. Oh, okay. Um, I'm just so used to seeing Hartenstein there. Which he's not too bad. He gets the job done, but it's just like everyone knows their role on that team. Everyone on that team like knows their role. And it's just the 76 MB, like him at 70%. I just don't think he can get it done.
He dropped 32 points at 70%, near triple double. Like he's doing that 70%. If we look at him before his injury, and I know it's hard to look at, you know, he's still injured. He was a freak. He came back and still dominated. So I just think Embiid. I know we talk about playoffs Embiid, but if he can lock in, man, it's GG. It's GG for the Knicks.
Oscar, I totally disagree. Embiid or no Embiid, the Knicks are going to win in 6. I remember talking to Luka last episode. The Knicks are going to the conference finals. I've said it now, and I'm
Thank you,
sticking with it.
Ruben.
Jalen Brunson
Thank
from
you.
last season is elevated. And look, people are going to say Julius Randle's out, but he's a bit of a liability. So this could be a blessing in disguise.
Yes.
Dante DiVincenzo
Breakthrough.
was seconds away from winning Most Improved Player. Was seconds away. He should have won the reward, but he won't win it now because of the new rules or whatever. But Oscar, you fail to understand that Embiid, fine, he's Embiid, but is he going to be healthy? And with Embiid out, sure, you got Maxey, but you've got the best defender going up against him. You got OG Anunoby, and when he's in that team, at one point they were 15-2. So I don't know how you expect Maxey to perform. We got OG Anunoby marking him for the entire game. And then when you need someone else to rely on, who are the 76ers going to rely on? I get Nick Nurse is a great coach, but I think since losing James Harden, they haven't added the necessary pieces for them to make it far in the playoffs.
They were before Embiid were out. They were 3rd.
Yeah, but he's injured, and you can't rely on him in the playoffs, Oscar. I'm not saying he's a bad player. Embiid's a good player, but can you guarantee he's going to be 100%?
Well, even if he's not 100%, he's playing, right? Unless he gets a a season-ending injury, which could happen. We're not going to throw it out, but we're not looking at that right now. We're looking at who's going to be on the court, who's going to be playing, 30 plus minutes, and Joel Embiid will be doing that, unless he gets injured. But we can't.
But Oscar, he's not the same player. He gets 30 plus points in the regular season, and he's 24 points in the playoffs. He's not the same player. He's not going to be the same player after his injury.
He just played a postseason game on 70% health and dropped 37 and 13 on.
Did he look good? He shot like nearly 30% from the field in that game, Oscar. And Jimmy Butler was also hampering his leg the entire time, and he can't play in their game tomorrow.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. It didn't
and Batum dropped 20 points off the bench.
Sometimes it doesn't have to look good. If you look at the Miami Heat the past 3 years, or they haven't looked good. They do it by grittiness, and if that's how if that's what you need to do to win.
You can't compare the Miami Heat to the 76ers. They've made 3 conference finals in the last 4 years.
I'm not comparing them.
When Philadelphia made it since Embiid's come in.
I'm not comparing them. I'm just saying sometimes it doesn't need to be, doesn't need to look good out there to win a basketball game. You're talking about, does Joel Embiid look good? Does the team look good? Tyrese Maxey has stepped up dramatically on this team when Embiid was out. They kept him in the fight of the postseason, and he's putting up 26 points a game or 27 points a game, and Kelly Oubre is doing a fantastic role out there. You look at the role players, Nick Batum last game. If he can replicate a game like that, we're looking at the teams really, I think, come together with Joel Embiid back, and I think they're going to do it in 6. And I just don't think that New York has enough pieces to guard Joel Embiid, even if he doesn't look good. You can't stop this man.
If Joel Embiid has this historical playoff average at 24 points, 11 rebounds, then the Sixers aren't winning this series. Okay? Because Jalen Brunson in the playoffs is another one of those guys who gets better. Okay? He averaged 28, 6, and 5 in last year's playoffs. And last year, I would more so argue they didn't have enough pieces, if anything. Because like Ruben said, Julius Randle is the opposite of a playoff performer. He was shooting barely 30% from the field in the playoffs last year. Now they've got Donte DiVincenzo, who has all of a sudden just become a sniper, okay? And between between what the Knicks have, the Knicks are a team, okay? They can shoot the ball, all right? They got swagger, all right? They are those boys, okay? They are those boys, and New York is rallying around this team, okay? And I'm just telling you that they are not just going to sit down to Philadelphia, their crosstown rivals, who are about an hour down the road from them, when all Philadelphia do in the postseason is just choke every single year. And I agree, Embiid's out on the court, but Embiid, between his tummy hurting and his ankle being sore and whatever, he just finds a way year after year after year. There is only one MVP in the entire history of the NBA who has never even made the conference finals, and his name is Joel Embiid. Okay, he is a one-man list, and that is not a list he wants to be on. All right, I think you are not showing enough respect to the Knicks. Okay, who, like Ruben said, they have a playoff mentality, and they always find someone to step up. And that's the thing that I love about this Knicks team, is because they all say Jalen Brunson's the go-to guy, but Josh Hart has had a triple-double when he wants to this season. When OG Anunoby was injured, Deuce McBride came in and averaged 20 points in the starting lineup. Okay, Donte DiVincenzo would have been the most improved player. Okay, back to OG Anunoby. Ruben touched on it before, and I want to keep going on this. They were 20-3 when OG Anunoby was in the lineup. And let me give you the names of some teams they beat. They beat the Timberwolves. They did beat Philadelphia twice without Embiid. Besides the point, they beat a healthy Denver Nuggets team by 38 points. 38 points, a healthy Denver Nuggets team. They beat Miami. They beat the Kings. They beat the Bucks. They beat the Celtics. They weren't just beating chumps, okay? They switched into another gear, and for that reason, I'm picking the Knicks, okay? I'm picking the Knicks as well. I'm going to give a bit more credit to Philadelphia because I still think it's going to be close, because I do think that New York does not have anyone that can guard Embiid, okay? But if it can get to a game 7 in the Garden, I've never seen Joel Embiid have a good game 7 in my life, and I don't think it's going to happen this year when he's at 80%. So I'm going to take the Knicks in a 7-game series, and I'm going to take them to move on to the second round because I'm hard on Philadelphia, but every single year I tend to say the same thing about Philadelphia, and every single year I tend to be right. And maybe James Harden leaving could lift off this little magical cloud from them. But before James Harden came, they still had these problems. And the stats do not lie, and history does not lie. Embiid is not the same MVP caliber player he is. And the Knicks are a very, very good team that knows how to win basketball games. And they are going to win in 7 games.
I just think it's a nightmare matchup for New York. I just think
Go
it's a
New
nightmare
York,
matchup.
go New York, go! Come on, Knicks. Come on, Knicks. Everyone's riding with me. I want to get into another series in the Eastern Conference, guys.
New
I want
York
to see how you
Wildcats.
guys react to this one. The Bucks and the Pacers. Another fascinating series. Okay. They're preparing to play without Giannis, the Milwaukee Bucks. Maybe the whole series. I hope not. But the Bucks are 1-4 against the Pacers this year, even with Giannis averaging 42, 13, and 5 in those games, including a 60-point game with the whole game ball fiasco. Dame, who is going to be relied on in this series, averages 20 points, 5 rebounds, and 6 assists on 32-27 shooting splits. Now, that is certainly going to have to change if the Bucks want to have any chance in this series. The Bucks are also 4-5 this season without Giannis. The Pacers are the second best offensive team in the NBA, and they have scored 120 points in each of the 5 games they have played against the Milwaukee Bucks this season. Ruben, I haven't asked you first yet in this episode. Who wins in how many games, and what are your thoughts on the Bucks without Giannis for potentially the start and or the whole of this series?
I'm excited most about this series, I gotta say. You brought up an interesting point that the Pacers are 4-1 against the Bucks. What if I told you that one game the Bucks won, Giannis dropped 64 points and got 14 rebounds? I mean, Giannis is a good player, but he's not going to be doing that all the time. I did some extra research as well. The defense has really been lacking, and we all knew that when Dame was going to come in. So, this season, their defensive rating's 121.8. They're ranked 19th in the NBA. Without Giannis, yes, they're 4-5, but their defensive ratings. Oh, sorry. Let me. Hang on, I've got my numbers mixed up. It's 115.8. They're ranked 19th. Okay, so without Giannis, it's 121.8, which is actually puts them 30th in the NBA for defensive rating. So I think they're going to really struggle without that defensiveness with Giannis, especially when they rank second in offense, the Pacers. I was looking at the defensive rating of the other players as well. They've really struggled this season. I looked at Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton, and Giannis have all had their lowest defensive ratings since the start of their careers. Giannis especially, in his career, his defensive rating's 105.3. This season, he's been 111.8. I think with or without Giannis, I think the Pacers' offense is too good, and I have them winning in 6 games.
Wow. Does anyone agree with Ruben? If so, please speak now. No. No. Oscar, please, the floor's yours.
So I think this series has really intrigued me because I think it can go either way. I really do think, and a lot of people just think, the Bucks, especially if Giannis comes back, is going to cook. But I do think that the Pacers, they've got something here, and that they've got enough there to beat a team, especially a Giannis-less Bucks, in 7 games. I think Pascal Siakam, his shooting in his last 10 games has been brilliant. He's been a fantastic scorer for them. Tyrese Halliburton obviously took a step back, especially in his scoring, but he's still the facilitator we love and we know. And I think if he gets back and gets a bit more confidence back into him. And the role players, if you look at the last game against I know they scored 157 points, but even Doug McDermott was scoring that game, and Nembrand, or however you say his name, he got a double that game. So they have a lot of people, just like the Knicks, that can step up and have stepped up and can score, the basketball when needed. So I think the Pacers in 7 personally.
See me, I'm really undecided on this series. Like, I'm really not gonna lie. Like, Bucks without Giannis, it's in shambles. Like, you putting all the weight on Dame again, like, and Dame's just not that guy really anymore. I'm not gonna lie. He's like
That's crazy.
I'm being honest.
That is crazy.
He's like
I know what you're saying, but
he's I mean he's still that guy, but like the caliber we know Dame as, he's just it's like a shell of him at the moment. Like, I'm not sure if the lights are too bright in Milwaukee, like he's not happy to be there or what's that, but
I don't think there's many lights in Milwaukee in general.
But no, the Pacers are a really good team. Like was it the in-season tournament Eastern side conference, whatever it was, Bucks versus Pacers. Pretty sure both teams are healthy then, and Pacers did what they blew them out, didn't they? Was it quite a lot?
I don't think it was close.
No, I don't think it was
I
close.
think it was like 10-point game.
Oh, but still, like Pacers, like their offense is great, and especially if there's no Giannis and their defense rating is obviously going down. I think Pacers can really just expose the Bucks, and then you really just hurting Dame's feelings a bit more in his playoff history. But in case the fact of Giannis coming back later on in the series, I don't know how long he's out for, but I will have to go Pacers in 7.
Now, we have just heard another series where the other 3 panelists are all in favor of one team. And I'm going to be that guy again, and I'm going to pick against you guys. So these playoff predictions, when we do make them official, are going to be very interesting. Because either I'm going to be pretty far ahead, or I'm going to be very far behind. Give me the Bucks, all right? Damian Lillard needs to stand up for once in his career. Okay, the last postseason I saw him in, he averaged 34 points per game in a 6-game series where they lost to Denver. Okay, and I was talking about this with Ruben last episode. The Bucks are 17-3 when Damian Lillard scores 30 or more points. Okay, so he has it in him. Now, I understand that he doesn't like being in Milwaukee, as any reasonable person probably wouldn't. But when you're in the playoffs, you're playing every second day, you're locked in, okay? And the reason Damian Lillard wanted to get traded is to win a championship. I don't think the fact that he doesn't like Milwaukee is all of a sudden going to be like, oh, well, I don't want to play hard. I don't want to win a championship, because I don't think that's who Damian Lillard is, okay? He can carry the ship without Giannis, okay? Now, speaking of Giannis, this reminds us of last year, where he was injured, came back, and they lost. Now, I don't think this Pacers team is as good as that Miami Heat team was. If anything, this Pacers team reminds me a lot of the Luka Doncic Mavericks before they got Kyrie and co this season, where they have their star player in Tyrese Halliburton, who absolutely cooks. They have a high-flying offense who's one of a historic offense, okay? If it wasn't for the Celtics' offense this year, the Pacers still have a historically good offense, okay? And they have a second star who is very good and has had some success. But the defense is what wins you series. And I think that the longer this series goes on, the more chance that the Bucks have to win. I think if the Pacers do win, it's going to be similar to how Miami won last year, and it's going to be a quick series, and Giannis is going to come back, but not have the same impact that we're expecting him to have. But I'm going to take the Bucks in 6 games in this series, okay? And I just think that the Pacers are too young, too inexperienced, don't have enough defense. And when we talk about health, Tyrese Halliburton post All-Star break has not been playing his best ball. He's been dealing with some health concerns too. And I look at Pascal Siakam, who's averaged 17, 6, and 3 against the Bucks for his whole career. And if Giannis is healthy, I don't like that matchup for him. He's only scored 30 points in 3 out of the 24 games he's ever played against the Bucks. So I think that Milwaukee has what it takes to win. Lillard needs to stand up, and Milwaukee's a team that is built for the playoffs. Now, the one thing I haven't talked about that I hate about this Milwaukee Bucks team is the goddamn coach who drives me absolutely nuts. And for the same reason that Philadelphia were frauds last year, and Doc was at the forefront of that, a part of me thinks that the Bucks could be frauds too. But I think that the greatness of Giannis, if he's healthy, which is a big question mark, but without him, I still give the Bucks the win in round 1 of the playoffs. I'm still going to
Doc,
ride
baby.
with them.
Playoff Doc.
All right, I'm still riding with them. I am still
Luka, you
riding
know
with
about
them.
Playoff Doc. You know wholeheartedly about Playoff Doc.
I do know about Playoff Doc, but Playoff Doc normally doesn't appear until the second round or the conference finals if he gets there. I haven't seen Playoff Doc appear too many times in the first round of the playoffs, okay? So I'm holding my head on that, holding my hat to that.
Maybe when the star players are out, maybe you'll see it. Maybe you'll see it.
Look, maybe, but Dame's got to stand up, and Chris Middleton's got to stand up too, because you're talking about Dame being washed, Tyson. Let me tell you who's washed. Chris Middleton is looking like an absolute shell of himself. And I saw this guy 3 years ago hit clutch shots.
Dropping 50.
In four, yeah, I saw him dropping 50. I saw him hitting clutch shots in 4 straight NBA Finals games to give Milwaukee a championship. And now all of a sudden it's like he's just some scrub who's out on the floor. He needs to play well. I think if we're talking about stars, I still think in a playoff series, I'm taking Dame over Tyrese Halliburton. And that's where I think the difference is going to be. I love Tyrese. I do love this Pacers team. I think they will be a very good team in the years to come. But I think for this series, I'm going to take the more experienced team. And I'm going to take the Milwaukee Bucks in 6 games. That's with or without Giannis. I still think they're going to get it done. And they'll click into another gear in the playoffs.
Luka, with Giannis, the Pacers are still 4-1 against them. They're still 4-1. And
That's
I didn't mention
fine,
this earlier,
yeah.
but there's been the recent surgence of TJ McConnell coming off the bench as well. Who's gonna handle him? Who's gonna guard him? Because as I said earlier, everyone's defense has dropped off. No one's going to be defending TJ McConnell. So if Halliburton can't step up, he can come off the bench and does the same thing. And if anything, he's a better defender than Tyrese Halliburton. So he could lock up Dame.
TJ McConnell is not going to lock up Dame, Ruben. Come on, man.
Watch it happen.
Come on.
Watch it happen.
Come on. Guys,
Don't
what are we talking about?
disrespect
TJ McConnell locking up Dame. Dame needs to cook in this series.
Dame has
And
been
like
playing-
He
I
won't
said,
cook. He's been terrible. And with
Dame
Sullivan
has
as
17
been
well.
and 3.
garbage.
17 and 3 can't be dismissed. That's a quarter of the games this season. Okay?
I
And
jumped
told
off the
you,
boat when Doc came in. I jumped off immediately.
Well, no, but they jumped off the boat before Doc came in, which is why they fired the other coach in the first place.
They shouldn't have, though. They were like 30 and 10.
But that was the
They're a
player's
good team.
decision. But that was the player's decision. They
Well,
all
that's on.
hated
Well, that's
Adrian
on
Griffin.
them. They're gonna choke now. They're gonna choke with
You
Doc.
know you
That's
don't you know
their
you don't
fault.
have many options when you go from Adrian to Doc. Yeah, I mean, like, what are we doing here? They've done it to themselves, the Bucks. Dame is playing like garbage, and without Giannis,
He's not
and
playing horribly.
he's not playing like Dame. He's not playing like Dame time Dame. He
What
ain't
I'm
playing like
saying-
that. And without Giannis,
Look, he's
this
still
team
averaging
is
24,
pretty
4, and
bad.
7.
Without
That's-
Giannis, this team is pretty not great.
I just
In
think
the playoffs with
Damian Lillard was brought there, and he wanted to go to a contending team. This is what he's wanted.
Can we
He wanted
look
to
at
go to
last
Miami.
season? What happened in the last season in the first round when Giannis was out? Can we remember what happened there?
And I said that, but this Indiana Pacers team, you cannot compare to a Miami Heat team who was en route to the finals, who also went to the finals the 2 years before that, and the conference finals the year before that, and who have the sufficient players to actually defend the Milwaukee Bucks.
The thing is, Luka, you can compare because them
please.
because they are both very well built teams. They both have that grittiness, that drive in their team to win basketball games. They do.
I think the
They
Pacers are
do.
finesse. I don't think they're a gritty team. I think they are very finesse, which is why they score so many points.
I think.
And they're young and inexperienced. You can't tell me Miami was young and inexperienced.
But what you can say is that both of those teams have what it takes to win basketball games against good opponents. Because we've seen it. We've seen it across the season for the Pacers. We saw it, obviously, for the Miami Heat. And all you need is Giannis out for the first game. What happened for the first 2 games? What happened last season? The exact same thing is going to happen. The Bucks are going to be knocked
They
out.
also didn't have Dame last season. And like I said, Drew Holiday did not play well in the playoffs last season, which is why they got rid of him. And Dame got brought in for this purpose. And I believe...
And Dame's been playing average. So
Because he's adjusting. But when it gets to the playoffs, you're not thinking about anything else. Damian Lillard... When he was talking about it, he was saying, I just go home and play PlayStation and watch boxing and I'm living in a new city. You don't have time to do that when you're in the playoffs because you're playing every second day. You're locked into the grind, okay? And his focus is on a championship. I'm telling you, this team...
So you're giving Damian Lillard...
No. Who coached the 2019-20 Luka Doncic-led Mavericks? Who coached that team?
But no clue.
Rick Carlisle. Who coaches this
Carlisle.
Indiana Pacers team? Rick Carlisle. These two teams are carbon copies of each other, okay? They are literally carbon copies of each other, and they are going to play a very good series, but at the end of the day, the same problem that Doncic ran into with a star-studded Clippers team, he could only get so far, and they'd either be 6 or 7 games, in the same way that this Pacers team is going to run into Dame and potentially Giannis, because I know
Without
Giannis
Giannis, is this team still star-studded? Without Giannis, is this team still star-studded? They've got one star, Damian Lillard, who's playing average.
They can still win games. They can still win games.
Not when they're
Okay?
30 in defensive
They would-
rating, coming up against the second best offensive team.
But the Pacers aren't a good defensive team either. And the Milwaukee Bucks can click
And
into
they've got
the
Giannis
gear.
out.
They got Giannis
So-
out. The Bucks are 30th in defensive rating without Giannis. He's a defensive
Still,
anchor.
it's the playoffs. It's the playoffs. Okay.
Oh, this whole
It's the
excuse about
playoffs.
it's the playoffs, man.
Playoffs.
Just watch.
Siakam won a
Just
ring in
watch.
2019.
What about Dame?
Just
You
watch.
can't say the
Just
playoffs.
watch. Just watch. Siakam got carried by Kawhi, okay? I don't want to hear nothing about Siakam.
Yeah, I do like
Okay.
that point, Tyson. What about Damian in the playoffs? What have we seen Damian Lillard do in the
What
playoffs
is he
by himself?
He
Nothing.
averaged 34
Nothing.
points a game. He averaged
Nothing.
34 points a game and wants to be on a contender, and now he's
So all
doing
we're
what he
saying,
wants.
all you're saying, Luka, is without another star, Damian Lillard can't win, and that's what we've seen.
No, he got to the conference finals and ran into the KD-led Warriors. Okay? That happened. He ran into the KD-led Warriors. He
Damian
still
Lillard
won
hasn't
2
done
playoff
anything in the
series.
playoffs.
He still won 2 playoff
And
series.
you're telling me this is a carbon copy of that Damian Lillard that we saw dropping 34 points a game, waving away his opponents.
No,
it's not the same Dame.
But they're 17-3 when he scores more than 30 points, so he can do it. He has it in him
how
to
many
do
times
it.
Okay,
that was
it might be
And they
in
win.
How many
And
times
they
is that
win.
when Giannis is playing?
They win. What do you mean?
You said 17-3 when Dame scores 30 plus, but how many times is that when Giannis is playing?
Exactly.
Well, I don't know the exact number, but they're still very, very good when Dame scores 30 and Giannis plays.
So if you've got him scoring 30 and Giannis scoring 40, they're going to win the game. They're going to win the
Yeah,
basketball
they
game.
will.
But
They will.
Giannis
Why?
isn't
Because
there, Luka.
But Giannis
Giannis
there. That's
isn't
what I'm
there.
saying.
But that's why Dame's gonna score more than 30, hopefully, and the others got to step up. And I'm not.
This whole argument's coming from hopefully he's gonna drop 30 points.
Well, I'm sorry for saying hopefully he will.
In theory,
he will.
you know,
He's
Damian
going
Lillard's
to. Damian Lillard is going to remind us of the
There's
generational
Albert
talent
Einstein out here
that he
whipping up
is.
theories.
Okay, listen, we can talk about this when it's 1-1 heading back to Indiana, and then Milwaukee's going to come back and win in 6 games. Because we do have one more series to talk about, and I think that I'm going to be alone again. Which, again, is complete rubbish, because this is a series that has been so one-sided, okay, by individual greatness, but in terms of the results, the same team keeps winning, and that is the Clippers and the Mavericks. Now, I'm going to give you a quick spiel on why I think the Clippers will win, and if anything, it's a similar story with the Bucks series, because Kawhi's status is unknown. But, look, give me the Clippers, okay? That's all I'm going to say. I want to hear your analysis as to why the Mavericks are going to win. The Clippers, even without Kawhi, I still think can beat the Mavericks, okay? Luka Doncic and Kyrie, which, by the way, you guys should sing their praises, because all 3 of you had the Dallas Mavericks as your disappointment team of the season, and you all stunk on that prediction, okay? So I want to hear, all of a sudden, why you think the Mavericks are just so ridiculously good that they're going to sweep the Clippers or win in 5 games. I'm taking the Clippers in 7 games with the home court in the same way they did it last time, okay? Paul George can get it done. Harden, until the second round, can get it done, okay? Westbrook, last playoffs, averaged 24, 8, and 7. So it's, okay? Did he not do that?
He may have, but
Did he not do that?
where's Russell Westbrook, man?
Something went wrong.
Well, this is the thing. Russell Westbrook, he did do that, and this year James Harden came, and he's been in a limited capacity. We saw 2 games ago Russell Westbrook come and drop a triple-double on Phoenix's head without Kawhi and without James Harden. And Westbrook just went, yeah, thank you, Phoenix. I'm going to take this from you. Okay? So the Clippers can step up. So can the Mavericks. But this is the best Mavericks team they have in years. And the one thing I will say about the Mavericks is I genuinely think this will be the hardest playoff series the Mavericks will face this playoffs. And I'm telling you that right now. And if the Mavericks get out of this series, I believe the Mavericks, if they can beat the Clippers, regardless, I'm going to seriously consider taking them to make the NBA Finals. And if the Lakers somehow manage to beat Denver, I will book the Dallas Mavericks to make the NBA Finals if they also beat the Clippers. Oscar, give me the numbers. Why is Dallas going to win this series?
You know, you were talking about Russell Westbrook just before. First of all, what has Russell done in the playoffs? Just ever.
Played good.
Has he though? Winning wise,
he did make the 2012 finals with Kevin Durant and.
Oh, okay,
Harden
2012. So we're going back 10 years. It's,
With a
12 years.
star-studded team and a star-studded cast like he has
Okay.
right now.
And in 2016,
Anyways,
they were 3-1 up against the 73-9 Warriors. If it wasn't for Kevin Durant choking, they probably would have.
Okay,
played the
Russell
Cavs in the
Westbrook
finals.
isn't averaging a triple-double anymore. It's you know.
Well, he can
No,
have
but he's just
24, 8,
one little
7,
piece.
and I'll be happy.
Okay, well,
Like he did last playoffs.
to go on to other things, I think that this Mavericks team is very top heavy, as we all know. I think the Clippers team is much more well-rounded, yes, but I also think without Kawhi, this Clippers team is going to struggle against Luka Doncic dropping 40 a game, as he has nearly been doing. You know, he's averaging 33-point near triple-double. I think Luka's going to keep dominating, because that's what Europeans are doing these days, apparently. And I think with the addition of Kyrie Irving, who's played playoff games and who is an experienced playoff player, it is going to help them get across that line. And I think it will be a close series. I think especially if Kawhi's out, I think the Clippers are going to really struggle. And I think the Mavericks in 7.
Well, I'm sorry for the curveball, but I actually don't have the Mavericks winning this series.
Wow.
Yes, Moves!
I actually have the Clippers winning in 7.
Come to the right side of the table, my man.
No, I don't know where this came from that I had the Mavericks. I mean, I love Doncic and I love Kyrie Irving, but that team plays no defense, and you got Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, 2 of the best perimeter defenders ever. They'll match up against them. Like, the Mavericks don't have that third piece, and they're not going to be able to guard Paul George, James Harden, or a Kawhi Leonard, which is why I've got the Clippers winning in 7. They're going to win this series.
God, Luka, he averages 34 against the Clippers.
Listen, I want to say something about that, okay?
He averages better points against the Clippers.
The Clippers are 2-0 against the Mavs.
Yeah, I want to say something about that, because you know me and how much that I know about this team, okay? And this is what I will stand on my grave saying. I watched every single minute of the last playoff series these two teams faced. And obviously, Kawhi Leonard is not the same player he was in Toronto. But when push came to shove, I saw Kawhi Leonard go into Luka Doncic's house down 3-2 and played a Game 6 where he dropped 42 points on Doncic's head on one end. And on the other end, he played defense on him in the pivotal moments of the game that no one has been able to play against Doncic. And I will stand on my grave that in the biggest moments, Kawhi can still take Doncic defensively. He can't take him for a full four. If he's there, he will be there. Okay? All right? At least in some capacity of the series.
I still think Paul George can take on Doncic.
No, I'm so brutal. I disagree with that. In the biggest moments of the game, because Luka's got a couple bricks in his back pocket, and Paul George can hang with him, but Paul George can't do anything with Luka in the post either, okay? He doesn't have enough bricks in his back pocket. Kawhi is the only one that can actually guard Doncic in a pivotal situation, okay?
Luka, do you also want to talk about how Paul George averages, what does it say here, 25% from 3? A 3-point shooter, a 3-and-D guy, averages 25% from the 3 against Dallas?
When? In his whole career in the playoffs? Or like what? When has he averaged that? Because
this season.
This season? Well, what's the Clippers' record against the Mavs this season?
But it doesn't. We're talking about a 7-game series here.
Well, listen,
if he comes with 25% from 3, averaging 16 points, this team is going to struggle, especially without Kawhi. Do we think that Paul George is going to step up in the playoffs?
Yes.
Do we really think that?
Yes,
what about James Harden?
I've seen Paul George.
Do we think James Harden's going to step up in the playoffs?
Yes.
I think that the Clippers can get the best out of him in round 1.
Do you think Doc Rivers is going to get the best out of James Harden?
Doc Rivers isn't the coach. Tyler
Oh,
Lue
yeah,
is.
no,
which is the greatest coach in the league.
Do you think?
Ty
But do you think that James Harden is going to step up in the playoffs? Do we really believe that?
Yes.
In this matchup, yes. In this matchup, yes.
I just don't see it.
But the Mavericks don't play defense.
I know the Mavericks don't play defense, but their offense is unbelievable. And what if Paul George comes with 16 points, shooting 25%, it's not going to happen. And with Kawhi out for however knows long, at least game 1 maybe, they're going to really struggle. I think they're going to really struggle.
They've got Norman Powell coming off the bench. He's a candidate for 6th man of the year. He's been brilliant.
He is a candidate for 6th man of the year. Okay,
About
Terrence
Norman
Mann
Powell
dropped
now.
40 points in a Game 6 elimination game 3 years ago. Paul George dropped 41 points in a Game 5 at Phoenix in the conference finals 2 years ago. They can do it. They will do it. The Clippers own the Mavericks. You heard it here first, guys. We're going to have to wrap up there, okay? Because we do have to go, okay? Sorry, Tyson, but my computer's about to run out of battery. I will get your pick. Tyson. We seriously do. No, it's my bad. We seriously do have to go. So I'll give
him a quick prediction.
I'll give you a quick prediction. I'm sorry to shaft you like this, but I'll give you a quick prediction because
sorry, Oscar, but
we're
I've
in a
got
rush.
the Clippers losing in 6.
Oh, yes, Tyson.
Losing in 6, he said.
Oh, man. Get out of here, Tyson. Get out of here. I was going to tell you could talk for as long as you wanted, but now you're going to wrap it up.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, listen, guys. The last playing games are tomorrow. One-word answers: Bulls or Heat. Who you
Bulls
got?
Nation, baby. Bulls Nation. I want to hear it.
Bulls.
I want to hear it.
Bulls.
Heat.
Heat.
Ruben
Okay.
James.
Sacramento, New
And
Orleans.
James.
Kings, Pelicans. One-word answers: Kings, Pelicans.
Kings.
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 Oh, okay. I'm going to go against you. I'm taking the Pelicans without Zion. Go BI. Go CJ.
Be
Go
honest.
to
BI's on minute restriction.
Hey,
BI's
you
on
know
minute
the
restriction.
He's
lastly,
unplayable.
you know the Pelicans are 0-4 against the Kings. Sorry, the Kings are 0-4 against the Pelicans this year, and the average win margin is 18 points per game.
BI's on a minute
I'll leave you with
restriction.
that.
BI's a
I'll
minute-
leave
And
you with
without
that.
Zion.
That is all for
Is he gonna
Priceless
call him
Takes,
1 from 9
episode
from 3?
54. 54. We will be back next week with some more playoff predictions because we need to have some more discussions about this because there is plenty more that was not said today that needs to be said. I am your host, Luka Price. Thank you to our amazing panelists, Oscar, Tyson, Ruben, for joining us. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at Priceless Takes, and we will see you guys next time.